Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jeremy, founder of QuickMail.io.
Hey, and this is Jack from emailsthatsell.com.
Okay, today we're going to talk about CTA swap file. What's that?
Well, it's this shiny new little document that Jeremy and I just put together with a list of, about 100 different call to actions that you can copy and paste into a cold email. By the way, let's share where they can find the swipe files.
Oh yeah, good point. So it's quickmail.io/goodies. And you may want to repeat it in case people don't understand when I'm talking.
Okay, yeah, that's quickmail.io/goodies. Go ahead and follow along. Check out the swipe file at that URL.
Basically, I'm a non-native English speaker, for those who don't know or didn't notice. Sometimes I struggle to find the right word or, a word that sounds great or can express exactly what I want. And sometimes it's kind of nice to hear Jack giving me some examples or reading some CTAs so I can pick it up and say, oh, I like this one. That's exactly what I want to express. So we created swap file of all the common CTA that we know about, and we're just going to do a teardown of it.
And for me, I'm a native English speaker, but...
Oh, are you?
Shocking, whatever. But sometimes when I sit down to write a cold email, happens a lot. You can be drawing blanks, sort of have this writer's block thing, which, by the way, a quick detour, the cure to writer's block for anyone listening is just start putting garbage on your keyboard. Just write, and eventually something coherent will come out. I actually haven't had writer's block in years because of this one little stupid trick. But anyways, I will get to a call to action and sort of just, gosh, okay, I know what I want to do here.
Which one?
But yeah. Well, before this cheat sheet or the swipe file, I couldn't necessarily say which one, or I would have to say, what am I asking? Okay, now how would I word that? But now that we have this CTA swipe file, you can download it and work backwards, which to me is a very good idea, where instead of having this blank page in front of you, you can start with the call to action you'd like and then move up from there as sort of a way to get something down on the page. It's an end goal in mind, and it just helps move that email along when you're crafting your copy. So super helpful for hopefully anybody who's writing cold emails on a weekly or monthly basis.
Globally, we went for two sort of variables. The first one is the sort of category, in what circumstance or context would I actually use this call to action. And the second one is the commitment, how high the commitment from the reader is or how low it is.
So for example, one of the categories that we're covering is a call to action that helps you schedule a call with your prospect. And to sort of demo what Jeremy means by commitment, you might say, for example, are you interested in having a chat? That'd be sort of very low end of the commitment scale. And how about please book a 15-minute slot at your convenience using this calendar link, right? That's a little bit higher on the commitment. We're not going to go too much into when to use high and low. Maybe we will when we cover certain CTAs, but...
You got a guest room available. I'm coming next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. It's kind of low commitment, but...
Yeah, a little too low. All right. Why don't we start with the schedule a call sort of topic here? And why don't you pick one that sticks out to you as something that you might want to use?
I'm super lazy. I'm just going to go in order and just tell you a few one, and then maybe we can decipher them. Decipher, is that even a word?
Decipher.
Whatever. You said it. Yeah. All right. First one. Are you available for a chat? What do you make of this?
So if you've got a conversational tone going on and you're reaching out to maybe not a prospect, but I see this being used if you're reaching out to other people in your space. Maybe you want to get a mastermind group together. I might use this call to action where it's like, it's informal. I'm not trying to press you for too much. Are you available for a chat? It works. Yeah, conversational, easy.
Oh, and final note before we dive in, can I use any of those call to action in my email?
Not quite. So something to keep in mind as you're combing through the CTA swipe file. If you're having a tough time getting replies, maybe you're going after a highly sought after market and you're looking to generate the maximum number of positive replies, then you're going to want to pick call to actions that are easier to reply to, that have a lower commitment around them. So something like, are you available to chat, has a lower commitment or you're asking for a smaller thing than, hey, click this calendar link and book a 15-minute time with me right now. So if you're going after an easier market or you just find that you're able to get all the replies that you want, then feel free to try out some of the more direct call to actions that cut right to the chase, so to speak.
All right, let's dive right in. So how is your availability to catch you for 10 minutes this week?
I put this on closer to the lower end of the commitment spectrum because you're not asking them to tell you a day and a time for a 10-minute call. You're just saying, how's your availability this week, essentially? So I would try this out in a campaign where you are going after a tougher to crack market. And if your end goal is to get them on the phone with you, I see this as being helpful. And I like how it says a 10-minute chat. You may play around with a 7-minute chat, just something that shows that you're going to put a cap on this conversation so the prospect isn't going to be overwhelmed or bogged down just by replying.
What about if I specify a time, like, are you available for 20 minutes chat on, and I put you the month, the day, maybe even the hour and the time zone?
This is my least favorite style of asking for a meeting because there's two things you're asking them to do now. You're asking them, A, do you have their permission to book you for 20 minutes? And B, are you free for this particular day and time? Now, the chances of both of those being a yes, to me, are smaller than just straight up asking, are you available for 20 minutes? If so, I can CC my assistant and he'll get something set up for us, right? So just put all the work on yourself. Try not to make them do too much busy work in order to reply to your email.
Plus, it's also selfish.
It is.
And it can be done in 2 steps, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm a huge fan of breaking things down. Call it micro commitments, whatever. It's just easier to get a simple yes and then take it to step 2 from there, or step 3, 4, 5. I mean, this is sort of what a sales process is, and I don't like to rush it.
What about, I don't have a secretary, I don't want to spend time on specifying different slots of times. How about giving you a link to my calendar? So are you available to talk later this week? Here's a link to my calendar.
I love it. I think a lot of people more and more are becoming comfortable with booking times via a link. And it's sort of this sweet spot between the CTA we just mentioned, where you're providing exact days, but it's much better. It gives them options and it's also super easy. Generally, yes, they'll still have to consult with their calendar. So therefore, it's a higher commitment than if you just said, hey, are you available to talk later this week? Here's a link to my calendars, making it a little bit more of an ask, but still, in my opinion, better than giving them a concrete month, day, and time that hopefully works with them.
All right, different goal this time. What will it take to get 25 minutes on your calendar next week?
To me, this one's kind of interesting because it comes off as if, look, you're a valuable person. You're probably super busy. I understand that. What can I do to make it worth your while? So to me, it's less selfish than most of the call to actions you might see in a cold email. What do you think about it?
I like it because it looks at the reader perspective.
Right.
I should have said it, but I actually don't like when someone sends me a calendar link. It looks lazy and it looks like it's that selfish person that doesn't really care about my agenda, and I have to do the work to then go and talk with that person who requested the talk in the first place.
True.
So personally, I actually don't like the calendar stuff. But in this case, then it's more about, showing respect for someone else's time and letting them know how they will value that, or, how would that work best for them. That's what I like.
You bring up a good point there, Jeremy, but I want to make a clear distinction here. There's a difference between putting the call to action or framing the call to action so it's written for the recipient. It's not selfish. You're not asking them to do the work. But there's a difference between doing that and what I call groveling, or coming off as so humble. You're basically stating that they're much more important. And if they would only just honor you with a gracious 5 minutes of your presence, if you go down this road, you run the risk of your prospect scratching their head saying, do I really want to talk to this person? It may be a complete waste of time. So I know that's not what you're saying.
Yeah, don't look desperate. no one wants to talk to me, so you can pick up your 15 minutes.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, just something to keep in mind there. That's as long as you steer clear of that, you should have hopefully a good response with this. Oh, here's what I was going to add. One last thing with this call to action. What would it take to get 25 minutes on your calendar next week? For me, this is a call to action that would be perfect for later on in the campaign. After you've tried 4, 5, 6 times to get this prospect to reply to you, maybe just calling that out in a cold email, just said, hey, I'm really trying to do X, Y, Z here. What would it take? And that way they may share feedback that you had no idea. You may learn that, wow, like they said, if I bring data on XYZ, they would be willing to talk to me. I totally forgot to add that in my previous email. So great opportunity here to get some feedback and even maybe book some calls.
Love it. Different spin. We got plenty of them. We are not going to have them all on the show today. But so you can go and check the swipe file for yourself. All right, let's move on. Are you available for a quick call in next day to see if product align with your goals? So in essence, here, what I'm doing with that CTA is I'm not really different from the other one, except that I actually link why I'm actually requesting a call to the actual benefit or something else, a different element than just, it's not about a chat, it's about seeing something else.
This is where I think a golden call to action starts to get formed when you can tie in an ask to a benefit in the same line. So just quickly restating, it says, hey, are you available for a quick call in the next days to see if insert benefit, if product aligns with your goals? So that's just making it painfully obvious what it is they have to benefit by hitting reply and giving you some info about your availability, right? So big fan of linking the ask to the benefit. And this call to action does so in a pretty simple, straightforward way. I like it. And for me, this is, again, pretty low on the commitment scale. This is a good call to action if you're struggling getting replies in the door. Give it a go if you're sort of getting crickets on your cold email campaign.
Okay, different spin again. This time, I'm kind of like casting a wide net. So there is a plan B here on this call to action. Can you or someone on your team jump on a quick 14-minute call this week to explore?
Okay, something that's going on with this call to action is being really specific with the number of minutes that the call will take place on. I guess this is just to state that you're not going to keep them on the phone longer than you think. You have an exact plan. You know exactly how long this demo is going to take. And hopefully they read that and see that you're not going to be wasting their time. But the other element probably that caught your eye, Jeremy, is can you or someone else on your team jump on a call? Now, this is a call to action I would throw in if it's later on in the sequence. Maybe you've failed to get them to reply. It could be an indication that your copy sucks or that maybe you're reaching out to the wrong person. So cast a wider net and include them and maybe someone on their team that can reach back. Although I'm not so wild about this call to action because I promise you, if your offer is compelling enough, they will find you the right person that you will need to speak with.
Yeah, I don't like that as well. That sort of like plan B is like, hey, maybe I didn't do my prospecting right and I couldn't really bother searching more. And in the end, can you actually work for me, please? I don't quite like that. And whenever you go for a plan B, you get less chances of reaching your plan A.
Let's switch gears a little bit. Let's take a look at call to actions that are focused around this. Let's find the right person to talk to. Now, a quick asterisk here. Hopefully, you can do enough research where you have a very good idea who you should be contacting. Just like you said, Jeremy, whenever somebody sends you a cold email that asks who they should be speaking to, you're coming off automatically at a disadvantage, I believe, because you should probably know this stuff unless it's really difficult to find out who's responsible for XYZ project. So use this as a last resort.
And let's face it, when someone contacts me and say, who is responsible for doing X at QuickMail? I mean, come on, we're just 3, so it's not that difficult. And
it's kind of easy.
Yeah, it just looks too automated.
Okay, but a time and a place for everything. This appropriate person style call to actions can be used. One, if you're really asking about some new or difficult to discern what department this falls in. Maybe it's a new technology, or maybe it can be shared between departments and it doesn't make sense to reach out to a founder or CEO. Sort of you be the judge on that. And 2, you may want to use this deeper in your campaign when all else has failed.
I love that. And also maybe when the company is too large, so you're not really quite sure what project is going on.
Perfect.
It's a classical go-to-market strategy. So there's the pros and cons.
Oh, like you just said, Jeremy, if you're maybe a brand new startup and you really just don't have enough data that tells you this is for this kind of employee, this may be a good option for you. So, okay, disclaimers have been said. Dive in, pick one.
All right, please reply and let me know, or feel free to forward this email thread to your colleague.
Okay.
Nah.
All right. So
where did we put this one on?
There's over 100 calls to action. Some are stronger than others, let's just say, but let's tear it down so that you can be a wiser call to action critic yourself. All right. So please reply and let me know. Gosh, that sounds a little bit weak, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'll do it maybe tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. So it's too vague.
I forgot. Yeah.
And also, when it says or feel free to forward this, I'm pretty sure, like I said, if it's that important, they'll do it for you. It can go without saying.
All right, let's move on. Would you be able to tell me who is responsible for insert topic at company and how I might get in touch with them?
So this one's, I would say, classic go-to-market, where you're maybe reaching out, I don't know, to the founder of a smallish company, and you're looking to just get a top-down referral. There's not a whole lot wrong with this. However, asking them how you might get in touch with them, I think, is a little redundant. If they bother replying, telling you that XYZ person is responsible, either you were able to find the email for this person, you can then use the same method to find their email address. So don't ask them for extra stuff, or they might just tell you their contact info or their phone number. So not so wild about the second part, but could work for a classic go-to-market.
This one basically lets you know that actually I don't know. So let's try it. If you are the right person, does a call Wednesday work? If not, any help being pointed in the right direction would be much appreciated.
I think it's nice. It's like you said, it calls out that there's a chance they are wrong. And if the copy in the body of your email has this tone where it's very exploratory, you're not 100% sure this is perfect for the company, maybe, it's just calling a spade, this can work. I actually kind of like the CTA, but let's see. If you're the right person, does a call Wednesday work? Sure, it could. It's higher on the commitment side because you're asking them for a specific day and if they're willing to speak with you. Two things. But feel free to modify these call to actions. If you feel like it's asking a bit too much, dial it back, remove a line, or swap things out. It's a swipe file for you. So these can be adjusted, tweaked as you see fit.
That's right. You can actually use like Lego style. It's like this first part of the call to action, I'm going to use like a strong one and play around with it.
Exactly.
Okay, next one. This time I'm going to try to go ahead of the objection. I'm going to sort of like imagine what of the objection would be of not replying to me. So it goes like that. Realize you are swamped. Should I chat with someone else on your team? ?
This has got some scarcity baked in here. It sounds like this may be the last time they'll be contacted without stating this. And
what do you mean? This seems like a perfect call to action on a first email.
Oh, good point there. Yeah. So definitely something that you should be sending later on in your campaign. But what I like about this is if they don't respond to this, it seems like they'll never hear from you again. And therefore, there may be a stronger sense of urgency attached to this call to action. And second, asking them if you should chat with someone else on their team could very much be the case. And if so, it's a simple yes and a first name could be all that you're requiring them to do. I like this call to action.
All right, next one. I realize this guy is actually useless, so I'm going to go straight for his information. Who would you recommend I speak with to take this forward?
Yeah, so try this out if you're reaching out to interns, maybe, or I don't know, someone who just left the company because you're, like you said, sure that they can't help you at this point. Actually, hold on, let me take that a step back. So, Jeremy, what if we wanted to try a campaign that reached directly to the CEO, knowing that this is not their area of expertise, nor would they be the contact point here? Maybe you could use this.
That's true, actually. That's a great call to action. But once you have a conversation established, I would say.
Okay, yeah.
And actually, that's okay. That swap file could also be used once you got a relationship going.
Correct.
and you just need to obtain certain things. So I think that's a fair point here. You establish that this person is not really its area of expertise. Boom. Next step, who do you recommend I talk with?
Let's keep it moving along. What do you got next?
All right. So let me just cut to the chase. Who is the person responsible for the domain at your company? ?
So I find this in a similar realm when you're reaching out to a CEO, knowing full well that they probably won't jump on the phone with you. It's going to be someone else. So maybe this is mid-size. They've got, 10 employees, and you're going for the founder to give you a recommendation. Here's the danger with this. If you're reaching out to a company, like that has 5 people or less, it can come across as lazy, like you didn't do enough homework. And Jeremy, I think we've done a few teardowns where someone used a similar CTA and you said come on, really? You should know this kind of question. So if you're reaching out to smaller companies, I'd skip this call to action, but larger companies may appreciate it. In fact, they may be, let's say, more used to handling these kinds of replies than smaller companies.
Let's face it, in big companies, there are a lot of people who are just love to be busy. So when you give them some random task, they actually appreciate it, strangely enough.
Ooh, especially, and this would help get you replies if you use this call to action, especially if in the body of your cold email, you made it very obvious how the company as a whole can benefit from speaking with you or from replying to this email. Maybe you drop in a mini case study. These companies were able to save 18% by doing XYZ. I thought you guys could probably see similar results. Boom. Who do you recommend I have a chat with about this? That way, I think we've mentioned this on the cast on another episode, where basically if you make it clear that this person ignores this email, the company as a whole may suffer. Obviously don't say that, but if they feel like it's in the company's best interest, they will get you in front of the right person.
Yeah, if you want to make them sweat, just add the headline hey, next Wednesday, we got this great webinar that allows to do XYZ. Who should I talk to?
There you go.
All right, that's the end of part 1. I think we should actually do it in multiple parts, right?
Definitely.
So we're going to leave it here. Next week, we're going to explore gauging interest, share content, and following up and all those sort of things. Thanks, Jack. I'll see you next week.
All right. Yeah, we'll see you next episode. We'll dive into some more CTAs that you can swipe, copy, paste into your own cold emails. But for now, if you want to check out all of the CTAs that are available for free, just jump over to quickmail.io/goodies. See you there. All right, you just heard part 1 of the CTA swipe file series. Stick around. Next episode, we're going to dive in with part 2, covering more CTAs you're not going to want to miss. Hey, cold emailer.
Yeah, you.
If you got some value from this episode, give us a high vibe by sharing a 2-sentence review on iTunes.
Or Stitcher or Tuning. That works too.
It's a quick way to help other growth-minded folks like us find this podcast.
So they can send awesome emails.
And make everyone's inbox a better place. Thanks.